Hey everyone, welcome to the Roto Grinders Morning Grind podcast. I'm your host, Stevie TPFL. It's July 29th. It's Friday. We have 14 baseball games tonight, and no other person that I, like doing these podcasts with anymore. I have like 3 or 4 people that have been joining me for the last couple weeks, and this guy more than everybody else. How you doing, CJ?
I'm doing good. It's good to be back. Did you have any Max Kepler shares tonight? Because those Max Kepler shares are working out for me.
Dean yesterday on the podcast said that Max Kepler was a fraud, and he hit another home run tonight, didn't he?
Yeah, he hit another home run. I have a lot of late exposure to Anaheim, Washington, and the Giants, but Kepler was kind of my one-off guy, so I'm off to an okay start at the very least.
Yeah, if you had exposure to Washington, they're starting to score some runs on Cueto, so that might actually work out for you. Right before we jumped on the podcast, I think they scored 2 runs and had runners on, so that might work out for you. If you guys haven't checked out our sponsor site, fantasydraft.com, make sure you head on over to Fantasy Draft. They have all kinds of cash action that they continue to bump up every day, and they got a $4,500 home run here tonight, 204 entries, only 6 entry per person, so you're not playing against 50 entries from one person. Kind of limits how many stacks and how many teams you can get exposure to. So I like it. Make sure you guys use promo code Grinders. That way you get 100% deposit bonus up to $600. And you get incentives here at Roto Grinders for free for a year for Fantasy Draft. And that's $180 value. So take advantage of that. And 14 games, a lot to talk about. And we'll start with Baltimore at Toronto. Kevin Gausman, Marco Estrada. What's your thoughts?
Offense. When I hear Marco Estrada, that's always like Dean's fraud call didn't work out yesterday, but Marco Estrada is such a fraud. I understand. Like I have more respect for guys like Doug Fister and Colby Lewis than I do for Marco Estrada. Like every time I watch a Marco Estrada start, he throws like 2 or 3 meatballs down the middle, and just like they never get hit. I have no faith in the guy. And the Baltimore offense, though, is super cold, and I'm sure people are going to roster him, but I can never click his name ever.
I'm with you. I can't click his name either. People are going to see, the guy has a, pretty legit WOBA to righties and to lefties. So, yeah, I'm not a big Estrada fan. I'm not a big Gausman fan. And, this game is in Toronto, one of the best hitting environments on the slate. I'm with you. I think we look at the offenses here.
And I think both offenses are going to be really sneaky on this slate. Baltimore has been ice cold, so it might not be my first choice. But if there was ever a park they could hit it home runs in that's not their own, this would be it.
Yeah, if you're looking at Fantasy Draft on DraftKings, both these sites, like outside of Josh Donaldson, these guys are just extremely cheap. Every single one of them. You could play any of these guys. E5's 8,400, Saunders is 78, Baptiste is 76. Just, outside of Donaldson, the Blue Jays are cheap here.
Yeah, I love the Blue Jays. They're probably a little out of range on FanDuel still. I don't know if I can be rolling. Actually, they're kind of priced down now. Donaldson's 4,400, Bautista 4,500, which I guess is still really high, but it's actually like Manny Machado costs more than Donaldson, which is pretty darn insane for a guy that's been as cold as he has been. Really hasn't put up monster games other than when he hits like a solo shot. So, I guess Donaldson would be a better play than him, but I don't know. I'm not wild about this game.
Yeah, I'm looking at the right-handed bats here for Toronto. When Gausman struggles, it's usually to righty. So E5 on Fantasy Draft, Baptista on Fantasy Draft. I think even Tulo, if he's in a decent lineup spot, even Melvin Upton Jr., am I crazy for thinking he's in play at 6,800?
No, I don't think so at all, and I'm kind of hoping he cracks the lineup too, to be honest. I think that's a really sneaky play and a really good call.
Yeah, I think you have to kind of think E5 is going to switch off at first base some, and Baptiste is going to DH some. I think they're going to give Baptista some days off here down the stretch. That could be one of the reasons why they went out and got Melvin Upton.
Yeah, and kind of just putting Smoke on the bench, which I think is – as much as Melvin Upton's kind of been a little fluky this year, I still think he's a better player than Smoke, so I kind of like it. It was for a minimal cost, too, so I think Toronto did a good job kind of giving them some flexibility to give guys days off.
Now, looking at the Baltimore side, like you mentioned, they've been pretty cold. Estrada, he's Estrada. Neither one of us are on Estrada. I feel like you stack Baltimore, you kind of stay away from them.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. It's a stack or stay away situation for sure. I certainly wouldn't start trying to play one-offs from this game. I don't think that's really your best play here.
Yeah, I don't even know. I guess on Fantasy Draft and on DraftKings, Chris Davis is still cheap enough if you want to play him as a one-off. That upside, that power upside. That would be my one-off, I guess.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue with you if you wanted to do that. Certainly wouldn't be my first option, but it certainly wouldn't be my last either.
New York heading to Tampa to take on the Rays. Jake Odorizzi, Ivan Nova. Any interest in these pitchers?
I always have more interest in Ivan Nova than most. I think he's a better pitcher than people give him credit for, and he's priced up though at 16-2 on Fantasy Draft. I don't know if I can start paying $8,100 for him, but he's been really good his last 4 starts against San Diego, Cleveland, Baltimore, and San Fran. He's been pretty consistent. He's only allowed more than 1 earned run once. I like him, but boy, does that price tag scare me a bunch. I kind of feel like it takes away all the upside. On FanDuel, he is $7,000. I'd have a little more interest there, but I kind of was hoping he'd be a little cheaper than that even.
Yeah, I'm not a big Ivan Nova person. I feel like this is another guy that I'm not a big Yankees pitcher person. Like, they have a great bullpen, but their starters, I can't get excited about their starting pitching, and he struggles.
Here's my thing though with that, and I was with you. Like, I never rostered Yankees guys, but now that Chapman's gone, like they can go 7 innings now. Like, it's not like before it was like you go 6 innings, you're done. It's not that way anymore. Like, once you can go the 7th inning, it kind of just gives you just enough upside where I think you can start considering them for tournaments these days.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess an extra inning makes them a little bit more viable. I don't know. Let's talk bats in this game. We'll start with the visiting team. Who do you have here for the Yankees?
I mean, Brian McCann, I think, is an interesting option against Jake Odorizzi. I mean, I know Odorizzi normally struggles with right-handed power bats, but honestly, the Yankees just don't really have any of those. So for me, I kind of would be interested in the McCann as kind of like a one-off. I never used to use McCann as a one-off, but the Yankees have kind of just become so bad at offense that I kind of think it's now like almost a viable strategy.
Yeah, I don't mind the McCann play as a one-off.
He's got some massive BVP too.
I was just looking at that.
Yeah, it's 12 for 23 with 7 extra base hits, 3 home runs. I had a feeling he had BVP too. I just couldn't remember it. Actually, the whole Yankee team kind of hits Odorizzi for some power, so I don't mind that. We've been waiting for the Yankee day, and certainly there'll be 1% on this day if you just want to play the BVP play of the day.
Yeah, I like the McCann call. I don't ever hate Beltran as a one-off, especially like his price is down on Draft and DraftKings as well. FanDuel, it kind of just lingers around that 70 or 35 to 4,000 range. I think he's a little pricey there, but McCann at 31, he's definitely a guy we're going to look at here. Now, looking at the Rays, do you have any interest in Corey Dickerson here against Nova?
Corey Dickerson, no. I'm not a Corey Dickerson guy.
No, I get it. Like, this is a guy that we know he has the power upside. He reminds me of Jock Peterson. Power upside, strikes out a lot, and has those massive games once a month.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I definitely on a full slate, you're just really never going to get me to play Corey Dickerson. I'm just not for good, bad, or worse. I'm just not resting him.
Yeah, I want a lefty against Nova. If Kevin Kiermaier, draws a good lineup spot, he's been moving all around that lineup lately. I know he hit second the other night. Like, if he's in the top 5 or 6 of that lineup, Kiermaier might be a really good option here against Nova.
Yeah. Can Nova hold on anybody? I don't remember. You'd have to pull that up, and I can pull it up really quickly.
I'll let you pull that up. Yeah.
Yeah, I have it in really one good spot now, which is really nice.
Well, I know McCann's allowed a ton of stolen bases this year. I think he was like 4th or 5th overall.
Yeah, that's what I remember. I just want to see if Ivan Nova could hit. No, he's actually pretty bad. 71% of stolen bases were successful against him. So I really like that, actually, that Kiermaier call. That's a really sneaky one.
All right, that's the guy we're going to look at here in this game. Colorado at New York, Steven Matz, Tyler Chatwood. Am I crazy for thinking this game might be a game that Chatwood could excel in?
No, I was kind of hoping I was going to say something about that. I kind of think this is a good spot for Chatwood too. I just like that last start with 8 walks though. Like, ooh, that was really weird.
Worry about with him, right?
It was such an outlier that I almost wonder if he got hurt. Like, you normally will walk 2 or 3 guys, but 8 guys in 5 innings, boy, I don't know, 1 hit and 8 walks. It's just, it's so insane. And if you like just throw that game out, then it's not exactly a great box score history to look at either. Against some pretty good, like some pretty terrible offenses too that he should have been pitching well against.
Yeah, I don't know. 8 walks is crazy. Don't get me wrong. Like, I didn't even realize like it was that many. I knew it was a bunch because we had Braves that day. Man, when I'm looking at Chatwood, there's one guy that I'm really worried about, and it's Cespedes. But outside of that, I'm just not too worried. And I think Cespedes is a guy that's a little banged up right now too.
Yeah, I actually look. Yeah, I get it. I think I would rather play Cespedes as a one-off, though.
He's dealing with a quad injury. I just saw that. He was out of Thursday's lineup. That was that early slate yesterday. Didn't even pay attention to it. And
he pitched hit, though, so, like, how hurt was he really?
Yeah, that's true.
I think I would have more interest in Steven Matz if I was looking at this side, just against Colorado. It's a pretty good matchup for him. Colorado struggles against left-handed pitching. They struggle away from home. They promoted David Dahl, but that's not going to solve their problems against left-handed pitching. He's been better of late. Ever since we kind of got worried about him, he's been going 5, 6, 7 innings, 5 or 6 Ks. If he can just get a win, he'll be an all right option for not the top tier price.
Yeah, I like Matz a lot. I think this is an excellent spot for him. You kind of touched on all the reasons why it's an excellent spot. Like, outside of Story and Arenado, we really don't worry. We're not too worried about Reynolds and LeMahieu, right?
Yeah, I'm not worried about Reynolds or LeMahieu. Maybe Rayburn, but that's really about it.
And I don't even know if we worry about Rayburn anymore. He hasn't been that guy.
Yeah, but like every one of those guys has like those couple like weak stretches. Like the beginning of the season, Franklin Gutierrez couldn't hit one. We were asking if he was going to get demoted. So I'm not going to suddenly start panicking.
Yeah, all right, I'm with you. Is there any bat that you like in this game?
Any bat that I like in this game? I would have interest in Cespedes if he played.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm at too. Like, Chatwood's a guy that gives up a lot of hard contact to righties. He struggles with righties and pretty left-handed heavy lineup. Wilmer Flores, I think you like him more against lefties, right?
No, stop. You're not going to play Wilmer Flores ever. At third base, come on, Stevie.
Hey, I've played him this year.
In tournaments?
Yeah. Why not?
Against a righty.
Not against the righty. I said I like him more against lefties. That's what I said right after I said his name.
I was just saying, like, you can't play him in tournaments against a righty. That was my point. Sorry.
Yeah, so Cespedes, if he plays, would be our guy that we'd look at. Is there anybody from Rockies outside of Arenado and Story, I guess?
Yeah, and that would be really about it.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where I'm at as well. Let's move on. Houston at Detroit, Colin McHugh, Matt Boyd. Any interest in these guys?
More than I should. Every time Houston faces a lefty, people are thrilled to stack against them, and it's just an auto fade for me. And Boyd has shown some K upside against teams that we thought were going to hit him pretty well. Now, of course, he doesn't exactly ever complete those games. He kind of always gives up a few runs along the way. But if he goes 5 or 6 innings, strikes out 6, and gets a win here, it's not necessarily a bad play here for 6,200 against a team that can strike out, as we know.
Yeah, I don't hate the pitchers in this game. I think they're both options in tournaments. I think Boyd, I just don't know if he's going to crack my lineups here on this 14-game slate. But I'm with you. I'm not going to go out of my way to stack Houston here. Like, I might play Springer as a one-off, but I'm not going to load up on Houston bats. Altuve is always a good one-off as well against lefties. But, yeah, they're so pricey. Like, they're not going to go up and put up the 10 or 15 runs, and they're priced like they're just crazy.
Yeah, I was just about to look and see what I was trying to find Matt Boyd's price on draft. 12.6. I would definitely have tournament interest at 12.6.
Yeah,
that's just too cheap.
I'm not going to hate on that at all. Miguel Cabrera, I think he needs to be noted that he's starting to warm up at the plate. And anytime that we start to see Miggy start to hit well, is this a spot we jump on him before everybody else does?
I get the idea. I would have to do more of an in-depth look to kind of see how he hits curveballs. I don't remember that off the top of my head because McHugh's kind of a poor fastball, really good curveball guy. So if you can hit good curveballs, you're going to be in good shape against him. kind of why Mike Trout just completely obliterates him every time.
Yeah. What's your thoughts here on McHugh? Is he a guy we might look at in tournaments as well?
Yeah, there's potentially upside here. The line is just kind of sneaky. It kind of is telling me to kind of just avoid the Astro side entirely. So probably won't end up on my teams. I think there's a couple of guys I just like a little bit more, but I certainly wouldn't hate it if you wanted to go that way.
Any Tigers bats outside of Miggy that you might look at here?
No, I don't think so. I mean, Colin McHugh is kind of blow-up prone, so like if you wanted to stack the trade, I couldn't argue against it. Like he gives up 8 or 9 runs like 2 or 3 times a year, so I wouldn't like completely hate the idea, but that's kind of all it would be.
All right, I want to note a couple things here before we move on. Carlos Gomez, he's dealing with an injury. Luis Valbuena, definitely doubtful for this game here on Friday. Alex Bergman might crack the lineup and righty against the lefty. What's your thoughts on the rookie?
It's a kind of a here. I don't know if I could really use him on fantasy draft or FanDuel, to be honest. Where is he third base on FanDuel now?
FanDuel, yeah, he's third base.
Yeah, I really can't use him at third base now. On DraftKings, where I believe he's still a shortstop, I could use him as a pivot off of Correa against lefties. That would be kind of where I would do it, but I certainly wouldn't use him as a one-off or anything like that.
Yeah, and another thing that I want to note is I read something the other day that Tyler White's supposed to be called up for this series as well.
Oh my! So wow, that actually makes me way more interested in Matt Boyd. If they're gonna pull Marwin Gonzalez for Tyler White, right? You think that's what they would do? They would just be putting all those power right-handed bats in there? Like,
I don't know.
Why would you call him up if you're not going to start him?
Couldn't Gonzalez play third base though?
And then you're going to sit Bregman already after 2.5 games?
Well, you do have a DH too.
Oh, Gomez isn't it? So you're basically saying Gomez doesn't play. Oh, you would move. You would play Tyler White at DH. You would think, right?
You would think.
Man, there's so many more Ks in that lineup though. Like Tyler White, Bregman, Gaddis. I mean, even Correa. Boy, that Matt Boyd tournament play is sounding like a lot higher upside than even I was thinking when I liked them.
Pay attention to the lineup when it comes out. That's what we'll say here. Oakland at Cleveland, Kendall Graveman, Trevor Bauer. Kendall Graveman just likes irritating me. Every time I want to pick on this guy, he just goes out and throws a good game, and that's been the last 4 starts. Do you think it's more the matchups that he had, or do you think Kendall Graveman's starting to get it figured out at a major league level?
I don't know. I think it was kind of the matchups here. Minnesota, Houston, Tampa. I think this is kind of a good spot to pick on him with Cleveland. And I hate stacking Cleveland. Like, it's one of the things I do the least because I never think they've got the power upside. But I think this is the spot to attack Cleveland, to be honest. It kind of just looks like the Kendall Graveman regression spot.
I hope so. I'm going to stack Cleveland once again. I'm going to throw out these lefties here, Kipnis, Lindor, Santana, and even on draft where you could play multiple first basemen, you don't see people play Carlos Santana and Mike Napoli together. And I'm not a Graveman fan. Like, I'm going to do it again here.
Yeah, I mean, I shouldn't make fun of Kendall Graveman. He won me a good amount of money with that complete game shutout or that complete game win, where he pitched the 9 innings and then the bullpen blew up, and then he happened to get the win, which was amazing. But you get lucky once, don't go back to the well.
We're talking that we like the Cleveland stack on FanDuel. You need a win. Is this a spot that Trevor Bauer could go out and pick up that win?
I just can't use him. On a full slate where, you're going to need some upside too. It's not just going to be the only thing that matters is the win. I can't go there. Maybe like on a slate like tonight where it was like 8 or 9 games, I'd have more interest in Bauer because of the win is being a little more emphasized. But, boy, on a full slate, I don't know if I can go there.
Just a guy that walks a lot of hitters and gives up a really high hard contact rate. So I'm with you there. Where are we looking at here? Are we looking at Josh Reddick and maybe Chris Crush Davis?
Yeah, those would kind of be the guy. Chris Davis, the true hero against Yu Darvish with 2 home runs. He's always the guy that just you guys like. I love Chris Davis. He's a guy that you can just play in any matchup because he's got 2 home run upside. I don't care if he's going up against the best pitcher in the league, and you're going to get him at 2 or 3%. And if he just puts on a good performance, you're in real good shape to win your tournaments.
Yeah, those are the 2 guys that I'm looking at. I hate that FanDuel moved Danny Valencia over to first base. That kind of rules him out just about any time unless he's facing a really bad lefty for me.
Yeah, Danny Valencia is kind of just out of play on FanDuel until he gets third base back, which he might not get.
St. Louis at Miami, Mike Leake, Jose Herrera. This is a spot we can target bats, right? We don't want hitters. I mean, we don't want pitchers in this game.
Well, I don't. I mean, maybe you've got some magical wizardry play, and I'd love to hear it.
No, I want nothing to do with these pitchers. Nothing. Like, I think we can target hitters here.
Yeah, what's funny is I kind of was pulling the lines up, and this is kind of the second time I've noticed that Jose Urena shows up as a favorite in a weird spot. I mean, he's 5,500 on FanDuel. If he stays the favorite, I mean, you could talk me into goes 5 innings, gets 5 Ks and a win, and you can stack the best offenses. I could see the pitch.
Couldn't you do that with like an extra $700 for Matt Boyd though?
Yeah, probably.
Just I'm throwing it out there, and like St. Louis coming off of a game where they hit up Jose Fernandez.
Yeah, it was just like the first sign of life that they've had in forever. It was just a weird spot.
Yeah, hitting good pitchers will do that to you.
Yeah,
and it tilt the DFS community. So,
especially it's just 50% on pitcher. Normally the guy I fade, and then I just was like, I'm all in, and then. Matt Holliday too, my arch nemesis in DFS. Like if I had at least had an arch nemesis, it definitely would be Matt Holliday.
Like I could see the Diaz, I could see that home run. Okay, I get it. Like he's mashing right-handed pitching this season, but Matt Holliday, really? Anyway, all right, let's get back to this game. Let's talk bats here on St. Louis side. Do you like any of these guys?
I'm not going to go back to the well. I think they'll be a little too popular after their success against Jose Fernandez. Everybody got burned by the Cardinals. It's a little bit like, oh, they're facing a worse pitcher. They're playing good. And I just don't really like kind of how the lineup works. It's like because you got to use Adams, Diaz, and 2 outfield spots. And it's just tough because there's always a lot of good first basemen and outfielders. So for me, it's kind of just a team I'm never really going to stack.
Yeah, on draft, they're super expensive. DraftKings are expensive. But on FanDuel, like – If you need some one-off cheap plays, like Diaz is 2,900, I don't think I'm going to play Holiday or Adams. But okay, so if you need one-off play, Diaz would be my guy here because he's just 2,900, and shortstop's usually a really weak position. I think he's the guy that I would target here on the Cardinals.
Would you play him over a guy like Tim Anderson against Ricky Nolasco or? Story against Mats for the upside for 100 more?
I think I'd play him over Anderson, but not over Story. Like Anderson's cooled down a lot.
What about Tulo for less against Gausman?
Yep, sign me up. All right, you talked me into it.
So I just don't think like I'm ever going to be using Diaz in this spot, especially when you have the recency bias crowd. And I should note though that Tim Anderson in cash is still a guy you can lock and load every day. He just never gives you the 0, and he's still free.
All right.
We'll get there, though. I love my Tim Anderson. One of my favorite players.
All right. Well, we'll talk about Tim Anderson. I'll let you get your Tim Anderson love out. Is there any bats that you like here against Leak?
I wouldn't mind the game stack. The Miami stack. Ozuna, Stanton, Yelich is finally priced down to somewhere on FanDuel you can actually play him. I wouldn't mind that necessarily. D. Gordon is back, too. If Yadi Molina gets the day off, that would be an opportunity to target him.
Yeah, Yelich, you talk about favorite players. He's one of my favorite players is Yelich. D. Gordon, 8K over on draft. It's kind of in that iffy spot, right? Like, if Molina's out, that would be, I think, the only time you could play him at that price.
I completely agree with that.
And we got to mention, if you're playing on FanDuel, JT Realmuto, always a catcher you can look at. He's a catcher with upside. He can steal bases, and he always hits towards the top of the order.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that.
Philadelphia at Atlanta, Vincent Velasquez, Tyrell Jenkins. How popular is Velasquez going to be in this start?
Oh, you think he's going to be popular?
I do. I'm not saying that I love him or anything. I just think he's going to be popular.
Okay, why is he going to be popular? That's interesting. I didn't see that one coming.
You don't think he'll be popular against Atlanta?
I think if Nola hadn't gotten lit up today, he would be kind of like Aaron Sanchez, Marcus Stroman syndrome from kind of a couple days ago. But since Nola didn't pitch that well, I don't know if Vincent Velasquez is going to come back and be chalk today.
So you're telling me that he might be underowned. I might have interest then.
I mean, at the same price as Maeda on FanDuel, for example, I think Maeda will take the vast majority of the ownership at the minus 200 favorite.
All right. Let's talk Vincent Velasquez. Do you have any interest?
I do. Kind of a similar profile as Aaron Nola, who a guy I was basically all in on tonight. Braves really struggle against the curveball, fastball combo, and that's basically what the entire Phillies rotation throws. So I'm probably going to have interest the entire series, to be honest.
I like Velasquez. He's a guy that averages over a strikeout per inning this season. Braves, they're such a tricky team to figure out. Honestly, they just really are. But outside of Freeman, I'm not too worried. And Freddie Freeman's extremely hot right now, so we'll talk about him here in a minute. Any interest in Tyrell Jenkins?
No.
Well, that was easy.
I mean, I think this is kind of the series where the Philly bats kind of get their act together. I think you kind of saw the first salvo of it tonight, and I think you might see it again today against Jenkins.
We always love fast guys against Atlanta. What's your thoughts on Herrera?
I love Herrera. He's a guy I'm going to be using the entire series. Used him tonight. He was kind of like the one guy who didn't play super well, but that's all right. We've got a couple more games for him to play super well. He's not priced over 4K. Sign me up.
I'm going to butcher this guy's name. Aaron Athier, I guess. The Philly call-up, or no, he wasn't called up. He was activated from the DL. He's min-salary on FanDuel, batted 5th or 6th in this game, on Thursday night. You have to look at him, right?
Depends on the ownership levels, right? I mean, he was 20% owned today. Like, he did not go by. He did not sneak by anybody today, other than me.
which is just showing that people are just getting sharper.
Yeah, I didn't even know he was in the player pool. To be honest, I wasn't playing a ton tonight. I was out and about, so I kind of just threw one team together, and I had no idea he was in the player pool. So 20% owned today, he could be 40-something tomorrow, which always makes him a prime fade candidate.
Yeah, fantasy draft 5,600 though. You get him at that punt price. I think he's in play there for sure.
Oh, in cash games, I would not. I would probably be playing him in cash games in all formats.
Yeah, he gives you that salary relief. We'll talk about pitchers that are a little bit more expensive. I don't know if we're going to pay up for a guy. I'm interested to see your thoughts. But any other Philadelphia bats that you want here?
Ryan Howard, if he plays, 2.1K against the bad righty. I was hoping he played tonight. He didn't. Hopefully I get the chance to use him tomorrow.
Looking at Atlanta against Velasquez, Freeman one-off. Is that it?
Yeah, he's probably going to have the exact same profile he had yesterday, and he's been in fuego. So, yeah, that would probably be the play.
That's the only spot I'm going here with Atlanta. Like, if I'm not paying Velasquez on the team, maybe I'll look at Freeman as a one-off. But one-off first basemans are always tough.
Yeah, it actually kind of works with the next game we'll talk about for a stack because that team doesn't have a first baseman. So that's actually kind of the scenario I would use it in.
Kansas City at Texas, Edison Volquez, AJ Griffin. Well, you said you were thinking about a stack. I'm guessing you're not on the pitchers here?
Yeah, Volquez is kind of getting back into his walk form, and he's been pitching better at home, and he's been really struggling on the road this year. So I definitely have got some interest in attacking these Rangers bats in the hot Texas sun against Volquez.
Yeah, hot Texas sun is never a bad thing, right?
No, not when you're targeting hitters.
I'm actually pulling it up in the mid 90s here at first pitch, and it's always good hitters weather. And one game that I do want to note, Detroit at Houston, the wind's blowing out as of right now, pretty heavy to right center.
Yeah, that would be kind of annoying, but whatever.
Yeah, we'll have to see because it says there's a lot of chances for thunderstorms in that game as well. Anyway, AJ Griffin, you talk about AJ Griffin all the time. No upside whatsoever. Not a guy we target, but he doesn't really get shelled. What do we do here with the Kansas City bats?
This is the epitome of a cash game play. Griffin doesn't strike anybody out, and the Kansas City doesn't strike out, and they hit the ball, and they slap it around. I think you could use kind of Royals if you need to in your cash games, but certainly for tournaments, I don't see the power upside.
Yeah, like they have zero upside, right?
They have basically they're playing in Texas upside. That's like all the credit they can get.
On a site like Fantasy Draft, Eric Hosmer, he's my first fantasy draft play at 7,200. I've been waiting to say it, but Hosmer at 7,200, you stole my thunder, CJ. This is just a good spot to look at the cheap guys, and why not look at the guy on the road batting third, probably locked into 4 at bats, maybe even a 5th at bat. I love Hosmer in the spot.
Yeah, I don't even mind saving the 800 more and going with Morales, to be honest, if you wanted to do that. I think either one is fine. I think either one is fine.
Yeah, I can definitely get behind Morales as well. Looking at the other side of this game, the Texas bats, I'll go ahead and start off with my second fantasy draft play. Nomar Mazara at 7,600. I'm going to continue to play this guy every day. He's under 8K batting second.
I thought you were going to have a fantasy draft play this game. I actually didn't think that would be the guy you were going to use.
Don't worry. We're going to talk Joey Gallo.
Oh, okay. That's where I thought you were going. But, it's kind of just the Texas guys not named Mitch Moreland. I don't care that he hit a home run tonight.
Or 2, as we were
doing. He hit 2 today?
He hit a second one when we started the podcast.
Let people play Mitch Moreland. I mean, you know how many times I played that guy and he's gotten me a 0 this year? He's got 3 home runs in his last 3 games.
So
hot streaks are real if he homers tomorrow. Like that would just be the drop mic for hot streaks being real.
You can get him so cheap on draft though. You have to give him a look though, right? Like all the Texas bats are in play, right?
Yeah, I didn't realize he had hit 2 home runs today. I thought it was just the 1. That's kind of annoying.
And it was like a left center shot. So that's when you know a guy's seeing the ball well.
Yeah. Wow. That's definitely a interesting. Interesting tournament option for sure. But again, you can make yourself contrarian, build a Ranger stack, no Moreland, play Freeman. I think that's definitely a sneaky way to go.
Joey Gallo's back in our lives, CJ.
Oh man, I mean we love Joey Gallo. A massive power upside. Just gonna crush the ball. Sorry, you can go gush about Joey Gallo now too.
No, I just was gonna say he's a guy. I said it on yesterday's podcast. He's gonna go 0 for 4 or 1 for 4 with a home run. That's kind of what we're playing Joey Gallo for. It reminds me a lot like Jock Peterson, and Joey Gallo just has massive power upside. That's why you're playing him. You're gonna get him free just about on every site, and you're just playing him for the upside. Yeah.
When Joey Gallo gets hot and he starts approaching 8K on draft, that's when you just immediately start fading him. But it will happen at some point. He will get hot for 2 weeks and his price will just go through the roof, and then he'll be 25% owned, and you can fade. He'll go 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts, and you'll win all the money.
Yeah, just look at these Texas bats on FanDuel just for salary relief as well. These guys are just so cheap. You can fit in a lot of these guys and, pretty much build any other kind of lineup that you want.
I got nothing. I agree with you completely.
Pittsburgh at Milwaukee. Steven Brault against Junior Herrera. Herrera, what's your thoughts on this guy? He's been shockingly good.
Man, I don't understand Junior Guerra. I don't understand how he can keep doing this. It's just been so consistent all year, and you kind of just wonder at some point, where is he? He's gotta have the game where he just get blown up, right? He's a 31-year-old rookie. I know that he recently converted to pitching, so it's not like your standard, guy who was just a minor league veteran and then came up. But still, this is what took you so long to convert the guy to pitching if he was this good?
We can say whatever we want. He just did this matchup at Pittsburgh, which is a much better ballpark. Don't get me wrong. PNC is much better than, going into Milwaukee. 6 innings, 3 hits, 6 strikeouts, 3 walks. That's not a bad stat line.
Yeah, but I got to be honest. I got more interest in the other pitching side of this game.
Do you really?
Steven Brault for the minimum is insanely good value.
But he's a lefty against the Brewers.
What's wrong with the lefty against the Brewers? Why are we suddenly scared about
they're
that?
much better against lefties than they are against righties.
Okay, but that's relative, right? I mean, they strike out 26% of the time against righties, so I guess theoretically, yes, they're going to be better against left-handed pitching by default. So that doesn't exactly mean I'm going to start running away from them. Let's see. Let's pull up
24% against.
Oh, and they're still number 1 in baseball against striking out. So congratulations, Brewers. You were number 1 against both types of pitchers. I mean, sure, the 12% walk rate is a little concerning, but they're below average. Their ISO is 144. I don't understand why you wouldn't play a talented kid and he made a start already. It's not like his major league debut, and he pitched pretty good in that game against the Cardinals. Clint Hurdle did have a little bit of a quick hook, which is kind of annoying. But again, for 8,100, you'll take 14, 15 fantasy points, and he's got the upside for more.
Yeah, I think I'll be a lot more interested if Braun's out of the lineup again here today. I know he missed the game on Thursday with being scratched because of a soreness on his side.
And Lucroy got scratched too, didn't he?
I think that was the day before, right?
I could have sworn that was today.
I'm pulling it up, but I think it was the day before. He was out of the lineup Thursday and scratched on Wednesday.
Okay, all right. So yeah, like if those guys are out,
well then then I'm really, really interested.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
And another thing, like I guess we can note is it doesn't make a huge difference, but it makes a difference in my eyes. Aaron Hill was on this team, which is another guy that hits left-handed pitching, and he's not there anymore. So you're really worried about what, 2 or 3 guys? Chris Carter has massive ISO against lefties. I know that, but
Hernan Perez too has a massive ISO. That guy just destroys left-handed pitching. That, like, even at 8K on draft, I have interest. That's how much he's just destroyed them this year.
All right, let's talk bats. We've already kind of started talking about Milwaukee. I like Carter. You like Perez. Sorry, it took me a second to remember who you were just talking about. Jonathan Villar, he's always a guy that we look at against left-handed pitching too.
Yeah, the price is through the roof, so definitely not on draft, but on sites where you need a shortstop, if you want to play against Brout, absolutely. But I got to be honest, like, I'm more likely to have a vast majority of Brout in kind of a Brewers hedge in case it goes wrong, as opposed to kind of like being in love with the Brewers here.
Yeah, like, do you really need the salary to have a min-salary pitcher today, though?
Well, if you want to play a certain stack against Tin Lincecum, it might be a good idea.
Yeah, we'll sure talk about that here in a minute. Pittsburgh side of things, I really don't love anybody. Maybe Polanco?
I don't mind the Pittsburgh side as a stack. As terms of just one-offs, absolutely not. And I wouldn't go without mentioning if Adam Frazier gets a leadoff spot, once again, you would just have to play him in your cash games. He's just – at some point, Clint Hurdle's going to realize that this guy is the solution over Jordy Mercer. But until that day, we're kind of just stuck waiting for him to start.
Chicago White Sox, Minnesota Twins, Jose Quintana, Ricky Nolasco. Oh, how is he still in baseball?
Because 30 teams need 5 starting pitchers. And we don't have – it's like quarterbacks. Like, how are some of these backup quarterbacks in the NFL? Well, we need 60 of them, and somehow you're in the best 60. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Nolasco. You do just enough to get by. Quintana, though, any interest here?
Oh boy, does this game just have trap written all over it?
It does.
Yeah, this game I feel like people are just going to ignore, and I feel like you can't ignore this game.
Well, tell me why.
Well, the Twins have finally remember why they were good last year, and it was that they actually hit left-handed pitching. And Quintana's been really good all year, and he's facing Ricky Nolasco, and the line opened -140, and there's been already action on the Twins. It's down to -130 for Quintana versus Nolasco. This is what the people would call a trap game.
Yeah, I don't see the price for Quintana. I think that he prices himself out, right? Like, there's so many pitchers in that price range that I would play before him anyway. And I think we do need to note, like, Nunez was traded, so they lost one of their bats here in this lineup that actually hits left-handed pitching and right-handed pitching. But, we might actually see a guy like Escobar hit towards the top of the lineup, which is a switch hitter. And I think, if I remember correctly, he hits left-handed pitching okay.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I'm sorry, I was trying to come up with something interesting to say, and I just really didn't have anything.
Yeah, I think they lose a lot of value with Nunez being traded, though.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that trade. Nice. I totally forgot about that trade. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're probably right. It's probably a pass.
I don't know where I would go. Maybe Sano. Dozier. I have interest in Dozier at 3,200 on FanDuel.
Yeah, maybe that makes Dozier more just a one-off play, or kind of like a little stack with Sano and I don't know what else you do. Maybe Vargas, a 3-man, Dozier, Vargas, and Sano.
If Vargas cracks the lineup. You know it's true. He hasn't been starting against lefties.
Yeah, I don't know what Paul Molitor rested him today, so maybe he'll actually realize that maybe someone was like, hey, that Vargas is actually better against lefties than righties, right?
He's cheap on draft, too. He's 6,400.
Oh, yeah, I would have a lot of interest there for tournaments, and he's 2.8K on FanDuel. I have interest there as well.
Oh, you like the White Sox? I like the White Sox. Who do you like from the White Sox?
Tim Anderson. I talked about him earlier. I love Tim Anderson. I love Todd Frazier. I will not be playing Jose Abreu. I don't know what is broken about him, but he's just broken, and every White Sox stack is going to have him. So it's a great fade, and you can kind of play Melky or Avisel Garcia, who's actually been hitting the ball really hard lately. Maybe they'll move him up the lineup so you can kind of get away with stacking him in there. But I would fade Abreu in my stacks.
Like the power upside's gone, right? Like he's still hitting over, 325 in the month of July, but he hasn't hit a home run since I think June 23rd or 24th. Like we're going on the past 30 days now.
Yeah, I'm sure he's faced some pretty bad pitchers in those 30 days too. So he's only got 11 home runs this season. He's on pace for like 18. The days of Jose Abreu hitting 40 home runs might be done.
Yeah, he's still a guy that has that multi-hit upside. He doesn't have that multi-home run upside anymore, though. I'm with you. In a stack, I don't know if I can play him as well. If I am going to play him, it's going to be on draft where he's under 8K and you can play 5 first basemen. That's about it.
I'm with you.
Adam Eaton, 8,400 on fantasy.
Oh, that's the guy I forgot. Yeah, Adam Eaton. Yeah. I knew I was forgetting a guy. I just couldn't find him. Yeah, Adam Eaton would definitely be a core play. You could even play him in cash, although he hasn't been running as much this year. I'm not quite sure why. He's only got 11 steals on the year, but you would think maybe he just could start running here soon.
We would hope so. Boston at LA. Rick Porcello, Tim Lincecum. Porcello is definitely going to win this game.
Man, I'm telling you, the hot takes. Let me tell you, this is the hottest take I've heard all year. Let me say, Rick Porcello is going to beat Tim Lincecum.
But
I agree with you, but why is this line minus 170?
For Porcello?
That's it.
Yeah. The Angels have been hot. We have to say, like I talked about on the podcast yesterday, the 2 hottest teams in baseball in the month of July have been the Angels and the Red Sox.
That's right. All it took me was to have 3 Angel stacks today for that to go away. So I've done the job here. They've cooled them off, and you can go ahead and roster Rick Porcello safely again tomorrow.
So what you're saying is David Price cooled off the hot offense?
Well, considering the Angels have been good against lefties and David Price has been giving up a ton of hard contact with right-handed bats, I'm going to go ahead and just assume it was me.
Okay. I'll let you have that one. It has to be you. I feel your pain. I haven't got a pitcher right all week. I feel your pain.
Probably a good caveat, right? We haven't gotten a pitcher right in 2 days, so take our advice with a grain of salt. Or you could be part of the we're due category group, so...
We're definitely due. I'm due for a big night, and I think I'm going to stack this game. I think late game hammer. Red Sox are obviously in just an excellent spot. And I have a crazy third fantasy draft play here. I think you're going to call me crazy. Hanley Ramirez is 7,600 on fantasy draft tonight.
No.
Yes.
No, Stevie. No.
Yes.
No.
I want righties against Lincecum. I want lefties against Lincecum. I want Hanley at 7,600. I'm going to play him.
Oh, no. Don't. Stevie gives a lot of great advice on this podcast. His suggestion to play Hanley Ramirez in cash is not his best.
Do you realize when Hanley goes off tomorrow?
Go ahead. Miguel, you can get Miguel Sano for less.
No, I'm going Hanley. Do you realize the RBI potential he's going to have in this game against Lincecum?
Oof.
Just pure RBI upside in this game against Lincecum. At 7,600, I'll play him.
Yeah.
Hey, you don't
fantasy draft. I feel like I'm always getting discounts, and that feels like full price to me.
Not to me. I don't know. We're on the opposite sides here of Hanley Ramirez on today's slate. Obviously,
Chris Davis or Hanley Ramirez.
Hanley Ramirez.
Oh boy.
Don't give me any more who are there because I'll just dig myself a bigger hole.
I was trying to find one more I could dig into, like even a bigger grave, but I'll let you know.
But I can play him at outfield or infield too, so you gotta,
I just I think you can do better. But I mean, it's not like he's a bad play. I just don't think I would be running to the gates to play Hanley, Ramirez, and Gash.
Oh, let's see. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to look just to give you the benefit of the doubt. Who's around his price tag? Like, there's a bunch of guys under him, I guess, that I would play. But right around the same price. I don't know, man. I like Hanley a lot.
Yeah, well, you're definitely on the Hanley bandwagon. You have hitched your ride to Hanley on this slate.
Oh, I'm on it. Let's ride it. Who else do you got for the Red Sox besides everybody?
Everybody who might get 3 at-bats in the game, even if it's coming off the bench for an injury. They're in play as well.
Oh, Hanley has BVP against Lincecum, too.
Oh, no.
Yes!
I should have looked before I.
Aaron Hill has passive BVP against Lincecum, 11
no.
for 22.
All right, hold on. Where's the train? Can I back this up? Beep, beep.
It's not massive.
Hill.
Hanley's batting 333.
Yeah, I see the Hanley BVP too. Let me just back up the train on that hot take and just like immediately just back way off that. Yeah, all right. I will,
and that's probably when Lincecum was a little bit better too.
Yeah, Aaron Hill, boy, this could be a really like you could build a sneaky Red Sox stack here. Kind of go Hanley, Hill, Bradley, and Ortiz, or Hanley, Hill, Bradley, and Leon, and just kind of hope the top of the order just does meh.
Dude, I like the Aaron Hill tournament play on this slate. Nobody's going to play him, right?
No. And if you do it too, you can just build that contrarian Red Sox stack too. And then you can pay up a little more at pitcher than if you're paying for the whole price Red Sox stack. I'm definitely going to have one of those. Let me just make a mental note right there. 5 through 8 Red Sox stack.
Mental note taken down. We obviously love the Red Sox in the spot against Lincecum. Like, probably my top spot.
They might be number 2 for me. There's a stat
There's your hot take.
There's a spot that I like more that we have not talked about yet.
All right. Well, I know you're on the Padres, and I'm sure that's where you're at, but we'll talk about that here in a few minutes. Anybody from the Angels here against Porcello?
Angels against Porcello. Mike Trout, always in play.
Mike Trout is always in play, right?
You know, it's funny. We haven't had the Mike Trout goes off for a week to inflate his ownership the entire year. Like, remember last year he would just go off for like a week straight and then he would just stay at 20% the entire year. This year he's kind of been like 12 or 13% the entire year because he just hasn't had that I'm Mike Trout week. It's coming.
Yeah, his last 10 days have been pretty impressive, though.
Yeah, but they're just not like you haven't seen the 40-point game that just everyone's like, I can't believe I faded Mike Trout. Like, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. We haven't had that 2-home run game or, that 5-for-5 game, that big Trout game.
Yeah, I think it's coming too. And maybe not against Porcello, but the Red Sox have some cruddier starters after that where maybe that will be the spot.
Yeah, it's sad that Porcello is one of the best pitchers on the Red Sox. It really is. Arizona at Los Angeles taking on the Dodgers. Kenta Maeda, Zach Godley. Maeda's going to be chalk. But I actually think this is a good spot for him, too. Like, he's chalk for a reason here, right?
I would have – if you had told me this 3 days ago, like we've been evaluating this slate, I would have been like, I'm all in on Maeda. But that Diamondbacks offense is in fuego right now. Yasmani Tomas cannot get out. And now if you're extending that lineup one more spot, boy, I don't know if I really want to be going against him. Like, Yasmani Tomas is 4K now on FanDuel. And it's basically just because of how hot he's been. He has just been absolutely in fuego. Boy, I mean, in your cash games, absolutely lock and load him. But if I start getting the sense that he's going to be 35, 40%, boy, I think you could definitely consider the fade, just considering how hot this Diamondbacks offense is.
It'd be interesting to see what happens with Lamb, that bruised hand. They're finally giving him some days off. We kind of seen it for like a week. We're like, hey, this guy needs a break. This guy needs a break. He's hurt. He's finally getting those few days off. His goal is to return in this weekend series. It'd be interesting to see if he's in the lineup. And David Peralta is supposed to be activated from the DL for this game as well. That actually might hurt Maeda or help him. Who knows?
I think that would hurt him. Like if this lineup starts turning into like if they get Bourne out of this lineup and they get like Chris Owings out of this lineup, if it turns in like the grade A Diamondbacks lineup that's like Tomas, Peralta, Lamb, Segura, Goldie, Castillo, boy, I don't know about this one in tournaments.
It'd be interesting because you have to think the Diamondbacks to be all at less than 10% owned, right? Like they're priced up and they're facing a chalk pitcher.
I mean, I don't even know if I would go that far, but Maeda's a guy that just, he's gone over 6 innings one time in his last 8 starts. This is just not a guy that just really ever – he just struggles that third time through the order.
Yeah.
And they give him a quick hook, too. Like, if he's going to be chalk, I definitely see a lot of red flags here that you could consider for your tournaments.
Now, when we're looking at fantasy draft, David Peralta is 6,900. I know it's his first start back from the DL, but do you have interest there at that price?
I'm trying to see who's like in the price tag so I can kind of like get a point of view. Yeah, I probably would.
Yeah, tournament, not cash, right?
Yeah, no. We can love David Peralta all we want, but we can't use him in cash against the chalk pitcher. We can't go that far.
Zach Godley, kind of just expect this guy to go 5 or 6 innings and give up a bunch of hits and not strike anybody out, right?
Yep, pretty much. And the question is, if there's no marine layer, you can go ahead and use the Dodgers. If there's a marine layer, it's just a stay away.
It's supposed to be in the 80s for this game, so I haven't yet to figure out this marine layer stuff. It's probably awful, but I've yet to figure it out.
I haven't either. I should just we should get Boggs on every day. Like, Boggs, what's going on with the marine layer?
Yeah, it's just every day. I have interest in the Dodgers because of their price tag, especially on FanDuel. Like Grandal 2,900 on FanDuel, Gonzalez 3,100, Corey Seager 3,500. Like, that's solid price tags, and it's a late game. Nobody plays late players.
Yeah, I completely understand the situation and why you would absolutely go for it, but I don't see myself pulling that trigger. But it's certainly a good low owned option.
I got a home run call from this game that I'll save for the home run derby segment.
Okay, I promise I won't take any hitters from this game, so you'll have free reign, Adam.
All right, we'll definitely talk about that here in a minute. Washington at San Francisco, Jeff Samardzija, Max Scherzer. Scherzer, highest priced pitcher on the slate. Is he an option here against the Giants?
I think he's an option depending on what kind of Giants lineup we get, and you might not know that until about 20 minutes before lock. If you kind of get the watered-down version, which kind of just doesn't have all the good players, like Panic sits out the second, like they give Panic a day off, coming back from the DL, or they give Posey a day off and they let Trevor Bound play. But if it's the grade A team, you're really dealing with some risk reward here with Scherzer. But there is a lot of upside in this home run reducing park.
I will say one thing. The San Francisco Giants are about to get really healthy and a lineup that's going to be really strong here within the next few days.
I was just about to say, are they going on a road trip soon where we can just like really take advantage of this? Oh, yes. Beginning of August, they get to go to Philly.
There we go.
Because like August 2nd through the 4th. Let's pencil that down.
Because Duffy's getting healthy. Pence is going to be back this weekend. They just got Nunez in a trade. Like, this offense is about to get really healthy.
Yeah.
Panic's back.
Pretty deep, too.
So, all right. Samardzija, like, he's been bad, right?
I will not play. I'm done targeting guys against the Nationals. I'm just done. I think it's like I started the rule about 10 days ago, and it has just worked to great success, and I'm just going to continue it.
All right. Let's talk bats. Outside of maybe a giant stack, is there anything? Not a giant stack. A Washington stack. Don't stack the Giants against Scherzer.
I was like, wow, Stevie, you called me out for a hot take, and then you were like, stack the Giants. I was like, holy moly.
Said the wrong team. I'm not going to even edit that out. I meant the Nationals. What's your thoughts here on the Nationals against Samardzija?
Yeah, I definitely have interest in them. It would be, especially if they kind of do this nice new look lineup. Turner, Harper, Murphy, Ramos at the top. It looks really nice, 1 through 4. I would have interest in all of those guys.
Took them long enough, right?
Yeah, it really did take them long enough. But hey, maybe Clint Hurdle will take a lesson from his old pal Dusty Baker and play his best players.
Yeah, I love seeing Trey Turner in that top spot, and Daniel Murphy's just having an incredible season.
Yeah, and it really hasn't stopped.
I'm a big Trey Turner fan. I'm a big Daniel Murphy fan, and any Giants bats that you want here against Scherzer?
You could always argue Brandon Crawford. Is he still basically free on FanDuel?
You know what's so funny? Like, no lie. You said Brandon Crawford. I turned my head to the right. For people that can't see, I have my TV to my right. And right when you said that, he had a triple into the triangle. Like, right when you said his name.
Oh, that's good because I have a lot of Brandon Crawford today, so that is good news. Maybe I should just say Brandon Crawford some more times here.
Yeah, Brandon Crawford. Can we extend the podcast for his next at bat?
Yeah, but yeah, I definitely think he's got home run upside. He's 2.5K on FanDuel. That's insane.
Yeah, that is. Why is he so cheap? Like, he's a power upside shortstop. Why is he so cheap?
I don't know. I haven't figured out the FanDuel shortstop algorithm. I've been confused by it for a while now.
I know we like playing first basemen and third basemen on draft, but Trey Turner at 6,600, that seems ridiculous.
Is he not outfield eligible yet?
He's still shortstop.
Come on, fantasy draft. Let's go. Let's get your act together, baby. Let's get this guy outfield eligible.
Brandon Crawford has a one-off tournament play on draft at 5,400. Nobody's going to play him there.
I will. He's 5,400?
He's 5,400. They priced him all down.
I promise you I will have him in the tournament.
Belt
5,400.
Posey's 6,300. Span is 5,600. They did that dynamic pricing.
That's fine. Brandon Crawford, I can see you're going to slide right into that utility slot on one of my tournament teams, and you're going to be 1%. And it's going to be a lot of fun watching the game tomorrow night.
Brandon Crawford's 2,700 on DraftKings.
We talk about this dynamic pricing, right? And we got a minute. I'm going to go on a little mini rant. If you're using the dynamic pricing, you have to consider like the home run upside of the pitcher that's going out there. Max Scherzer gets lit up with home run balls. You can't give guys with talent those type of prices against a home run pro pitcher. You're just asking for guys to hit the right one-offs and win tournaments with it.
Yeah. His home run per 9 is 1.4 this year. He's averaging over a home run per 9 innings this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to have exposure to Giants as one-offs just because, Scherzer gives up a home run and the guy is 2.7K. You're suddenly just in a great spot.
Yeah, I'll throw some of this at you. Posey, 3,200. Belt, 3,100. And we already talked about Crawford and Jarrett Parker, 2,400. Like in tournaments as one-offs on DraftKings for the Giants, we're saying this is a one-off play. You're doing it in tournaments. It's against Scherzer. We're accepting the risk. But at this price, like, you're not going to get killed with a 0, but you could be way ahead of the field with 14 points.
Yeah, these guys are just too cheap. And there's just too many high upside offenses and decent arms that, like, you can – it basically allows you to get, like, an upgrade at an arm or an upgrade in a bat just by going from some middling guy to Crawford. Like, do that every time.
Cincinnati at San Diego – another game that we can look at for bats, right? Like Edwin Jackson, Brandon Finnegan. We don't want these pitchers.
Jeff and I did a show on Tuesday where we were there was a similar game between the Cincinnati Reds and the Giants, and we're like, man, we love the Reds and we kind of like the Giants. And it was Matt Cain against Cody Reed, and we kind of were in on it. And then roster lock came around, and neither of us kind of pulled the trigger on the Reds, and the Reds won all the money. I promise you, I'm not making that mistake tonight. Edwin Jackson, Brandon Finnegan, last game of the day. You have a total in San Diego, and I just pulled off the page, but it's ridiculously high. It's almost 9 in San Diego. Have we seen a 9 in San Diego all year? I don't think so.
Not that I can remember.
And the Reds' offense is hot, and Edwin Jackson as well. Edwin Jackson, we already saw his kind of like quasi no-hitter game already this year. He's done. He already used it up. Fire up the Reds. Fire up the Padres. Late night hammer.
Yeah, that night saved me so much. I had Tillman's 1 point that night, and man, I missed some big money that night because I scored like 160 with Tillman that night, and I had Reds everywhere. This is another spot. Like, if you believe in hot streaks and you don't play Jay Bruce on this slate, I want your hot streak card. He has home runs in 5 straight games. He's one of the streakiest hitters in baseball. You have to. This might be the end of it. Like, we might actually. If you're jumping on now, you might get the 0 for 4 game.
I would have said that against Madison Bumgarner. Then he homers off Madison Bumgarner. And he never hits off a lefty. I mean, everything does suggest that maybe this is the end of the road for Jay Bruce.
I'm doing it.
An Edwin Jackson game. So now I will write down, build one of your 10 red stacks without Jay Bruce. But other than that, it's all sales ahead with Jay Bruce, Billy Hamilton 3.3K. Adam Duvall is free as well, and he started to heat up in that San Francisco series after a little bit of a cold streak. It's Reds, and then you get the Padres. Edwin Jackson's the favorite against Brandon Finnegan. Finally, the Padres are getting some respect against left-handed pitching, and now they're losing Melvin Upton. So maybe this is almost a spot where they don't deserve it as much. But I'm still rostering my guys. I'm still rostering Norris, Kemp, Myers, Rosales if he gets a little bump. Those guys are still definitely core plays for me tonight. I'm going to have a ton of this game in every shape, manner, or form.
I'm with you, my friend. I'm with you. I love this baseball game. It's definitely a game. We were talking about the Dodgers and the Marine Layer, et cetera, et cetera. This game right here, man, this is a game I'm going to be targeting quite a bit. And you pretty much touched on everything I want. Matt Kemp at 3,200 on FanDuel. Play him in cash games.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you there.
Yeah, like Finnegan, he struggles with righties. He gives up a ton of home runs to righties. It is Petco, but we've seen home runs fly out of Petco all year.
Yeah, then I don't think it's going to stop today.
All right, that's going to wrap it up here for the breakdown. Everybody wants us to play some home run derby. I'm excited to play some home run derby. Let's play some home run derby. I'll let you
Can we ban Jay Bruce?
We could ban Jay Bruce. We both like Jay Bruce. Yeah, I'm okay.
I mean, because I would have been taking him number 1 overall, and I would have felt little guilty with that because that's
okay.
Cheating.
We can ban Jay Bruce.
Yeah, let's ban Jay Bruce. He's the new Coors Field. So I'm going to go ahead and with the first overall selection here, there's a couple options, but I can get David Ortiz against Tim Lincecum, and I am not letting you get him.
Yeah, that pick doesn't suck. I'm going to stay to that game and I go Mookie Betts.
Oh, I thought you were going to go Hanley there, but no.
I like Hanley.
You're backing off your Hanley take. You're backing off.
I like Hanley for RBI upside. I said that already. And he has BVP over 300 average. I like Hanley for RBI upside.
Yeah, well, home runs are a good way to get RBIs too.
If he hits a home run, then I just look smarter.
I'm going to go super, super contrarian with the second overall pick. We talked about the Nationals top of the order, and we talked about the guys we know. But Wilson Ramos, I think he's going to go deep today.
All right. There's so many. There's so many spots I could go for home runs in this slate. I think this one would be a little underowned, and Carlos Santana is my next guy.
Yeah, first base is so deep today, and I'm actually going to take a fellow first baseman. I'm going to take Joey Votto, who we should have mentioned has some good BVP against Edwin Jackson.
Yeah, it's a nice day for fantasy draft because I want to play 15 first basemen.
Yeah, it's a great day for fantasy draft.
I kind of teased this last one. I knew you weren't going to take him because I know you said you didn't want anybody from this game. But my last pick of the day, of the week, of the month of July. No. Is the first on Monday or Sunday? I don't know. I think it's Monday, so I can't even say that. Comes from this Dodgers game, and it's not a name that I think a lot of people are going to target, and it's Justin Turner. When we look at Zach Godley, small sample sizes, but he's given up a ton of hard contact to righties and a lot of home runs to righties. Jay Turner is starting to turn it around after just a terrible start to the season. I like Justin Turner to go yard here off Godley.
I think that's a good call. It's definitely just a spot. There's too many spots I like so much more already. I just probably won't end up there, but it's definitely a great call.
Yeah, he's a guy. I just like this matchup for him. I like it a lot. I don't have to rule out anybody. I'm not even going to rule out Scherzer against the Giants. If you had to pick one pitcher at the end of the day to pick up a win, doesn't have to score the most fantasy points, who do you have here for a win?
That is a good question. We talked about all these great offenses, and it kind of just comes back around to the fact that there's no great pitching. Man, I really want to mention Stephen Brault one more time. I know you weren't heavy on him, but this is just too much upside for me to pass to have a lot of exposure to him tonight.
That lineup could be really bad too.
And I can't say he's the most likely to get a win, but he's going to be way more likely than Vegas will give him credit for. Steven Matz, I don't see how Colorado ends up winning the game.
Yeah, and I'm going to kind of go in the same price range. We didn't really love this guy, but Jose Quintana should definitely win this game. I know you said trap game, But the more and more I thought about it, with Nunez gone, you need a table setter in a lineup, and I think Quintana gets the win because I think Nolasco gets shelled.
I would much rather play Vince Velasquez. Philly's a minus 155 favorite on the road. I think he's definitely more likely to get the win than Quintana.
I like Velasquez. There's no hate there. I just think Quintana's a safe pick for a win.
Oh, Stevie, you're going to want to get this podcast deleted when you said that he's a safe pick to get a win. I have a bad feeling that you're going to be regretting that statement all weekend long. 15
runs later.
Yeah, exactly. It could be 8. It could be 8 runs in 2 innings. This is boy. I mean, I like Nunez and all, but that heart of the order is still a real problem for him.
We'll see how it kind of plays out. That's going to wrap it up. And Hanley Ramirez, I just want to pound that home one more time before we get out of here. Hanley Ramirez, RBI upside. If he hits a home run, I just look like a genius. Any final thoughts before we get out of here, CJ?
This is a great tournament slate. Great tournament slate. It's going to be a lot of fun. Just be responsible with your bankroll, and hopefully you've been doing good enough in the single entry blast that you can keep firing away at it. A couple more days left to go. $40K, which is just awesome for a $50 single entry tournament.
I have one good score.
Yeah, I got one good score too. I really could use a second. Maybe David Price can get blown up here.
Yeah, I'm definitely not getting my second tonight. Thank you, Fernandez and Texas Bats. That's going to wrap it up here for the podcast. If you guys want coaching, CJ is doing that. You can hit him up on Twitter. You can hit him up on the RotoGrinders PM system. You mentioned it last time. Grab him now before the price goes up, right?
Yeah, price goes up in 4 days. Yep. Good point. 4 days.
Book it now. Make him stay to that price. Book it now. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up. I hope everybody has a great weekend. If you like NASCAR, me and RotoDoc will be doing a live NASCAR show on Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It'll be in the Grinders Live spot. And if you like money, I would definitely check that show out. CJ, have a great weekend, my friend. Everybody else, good luck tonight, and we'll see you again on Monday.